Hey folks, with us today, Bogdan Predusca, founder of Hyperhuman. Bogdan, super happy to have you.
Thank you, Nikolas. Great to be here. Excited to our conversation.
Awesome. Let's dive right in. What problem does Hyperhuman solve?
The biggest problem that we identify and are solving is content production at scale for the health and fitness for the health and fitness industry. So if you imagine the amount of content that is being consumed at this point after the pandemic, after the consumers got into this mind space of, okay, I can mix digital and in-person experiences. I'm thinking about, of course, health and fitness activities. This created a huge demand of content, which is not sustainable in the way traditional businesses are building or creating their content strategy. Imagine you need to mass produce, record, deliver, maintain all these company assets, which are gold for companies, videos, on-demand content. And if you are not the Nike or Apple or the bigger ones in this industry, it really becomes very hard to maintain, to shoot new content, deliver anyone. So what we do is giving a streamlined way with AI-powered tools and specifically design AI video processing capabilities for companies to streamline this process.
And then is the typical customer like a gym, or who's like the typical client for you?
Yeah, I think this is the obvious and very interesting question is who is the best client for us, or who do we serve best? I think that's the best way to put it. On one side, we have the digital companies. So digital means consumer health and fitness products. Freelance, Nikes of the world. But of course, the rising stars. I would love to have a few bigger ones as a name. Wellness platforms, connected fitness hardware. There are so many companies that have content as support service. This is their bread and butter. And of course, how to produce it, how to deliver it, how to make it personalized, how to make it and generate leads from this content through social media. This is a super challenging. And to be honest, this was always accessible for larger players. So these are the SMEs of the world. From that space are our typical clients. And on the other hand, you have the traditional brick-and-mortar businesses like gym chains and, of course, whole companies that still have a physical presence.
And is it like a 50-50 split, or where do you see like more pull right now?
I think I would say 70-30, 80-20 towards the digital, because
Interesting.
That's your... imagine you are launching a connected hardware, right? Let's say a product that is great to use. How do you ensure people will buy it and use it along the way? Because, of course, I'm buying not the product. I'm buying a health outcome, a goal, an objective, a higher thing that I want to achieve. I'm not buying a pen. I'm buying a tool to write a story. So this is something very important to get behind. Content is the king, and this is not just a shallow word. Content, personalized content, because health and fitness is a journey and not a project or time-long adventure. This is key for all the digital health and fitness companies. Of course, brick-and-mortar still are figuring out, still reinventing and positioning themselves after the pandemic, after this new consumer behavior. But I think at this point, I would say 70-30.
Got it. And then you started roughly 3 years ago and you raised capital. How did you make the decision to raise VC for this startup?
That was a very interesting journey. So, back at Fitbit, the Fitbit was acquired by Google. End of 2020, the acquisition was completed. And of course, I was always passionate about this industry, and I was seeing this in all my professional lives, how companies are reinventing the wheel on the content side and how they are struggling to keep a constant feed, clients happy, to keep the content fresh and personalized and make it work for their audiences. So this was something that I always saw as a big challenge for this industry, and of course, as an opportunity. We started with exploring this idea, so my co-founder and I, in summer 2020. Then after figuring out a little bit what's going on and what's the appetite of the market and what's the value prop, we decided to go full throttle. Of course, reject the Google offer, go with in the unknown space of a startup and all the fun nights and challenging weeks. And of course, to build a global product from day one, our mission is to make world's health and fitness universally accessible, reusable, and profitable. With having this mission and, of course, the ambition to become the go-to content production infrastructure for this industry, it requires, of course, help from VCs, which we decided to use from day one. And we were fortunate to be, of course, trusted and backed by leading VCs from this region.
Is there any, right now it's for a lot of VC-backed companies, it's like not the most fun time. The funding market is quite hard. Is there anything you in the last months did specifically to like adapt to this recession? Because like it's like a while ago that like us tech people had to deal with something like that. So how are you managing that like as a founder right now?
Let me say something controversial. It's not fun to be a VC-funded company because everyone sees only the positive and the great news, millions put in new companies. I just saw one generative AI when we were using AI when it was not cool and it was not a buzzword. So just real world usage. So I just saw seed first investment of one company raising 150 million. Or 140 million.
Oh, that's quite a big seed.
They don't know what's the market, okay. So VC money is a blessing and a curse because of many reasons, especially in Europe, where people are thinking like I'm a VC, but using the spreadsheets and the numbers like a traditional investor. So you want to have the two words, the good ones, only when the positive things from one side and ignore the negative side. VC means venture capital, means risk, means taking and putting bets. In Europe, there is still a balance, let's say, belief in how VC money should work, what's the return, what's the risk. So you get this, let's say, explosion or hockey stick that everyone expects not from day one, but immediately after the investment. Spend fast, grow fast. Don't think of, many things like profitability, like breaking even, and of course, this creates a lot of unhealthy habits for companies and unsustainable things for many businesses. Like now we see also the reverse and the dark side of this, of these patterns. Nowadays, these are the most visible aspects of VC-funded companies. So, getting to your point, yes, we knew this from day one. This is not our first venture. Dan and I founded a company many years ago, corporate wellness platform, with 50K raising money in Dallas, building a corporate wellness platform. That was fun. So we knew what the expected and what the pressure, expected outcomes, and the milestones that investors see. We knew this from day one, and of course, we took this as it is. Many founders are hit by the train later because they don't know what the investors need to get their money back, and they have a high return of investment expected outcome, let's say, as an expected outcome. If you are not delivering, their investment is back. It's hard to mitigate, and it creates a snowball effect.
If you need to hire the right developers and ship fast, then React Squad is for you. A boutique agency that specializes in React and only works with fast growth startups. Get a 14-day risk-free trial and a transparent price of $95 per hour. Visit reactsquad.io to learn more.
So is there anything besides going in eyes wide open and knowing that those are the expectations? Is there anything specific in terms of like fundraising or choosing the investor that would specifically be interesting for European founders?
Yes. I don't, if you would like to think of these options, I can give you a few examples. So I'm actually a conservative entrepreneur founder. I still believe in the real business and creating margin from, or gross margin from value extraction, and of course all the theory behind it. My MBA teach me that. So build a sustainable. If I sell glass, let's say sunglasses, if someone pays 100 and I'm producing it with 50 plus marketing plus whatever comes on top of it, 80 and $20 is my profit. But it seems that tech forgot these rules and this best practices, and everyone is not or avoiding speaking and thinking about profitability, breaking even, invest versus return. And maybe you get into a spending spree, which is actually counterproductive, because you need what you buy with money, early stage money, is time to figure things out, to learn faster than you spend money. If you don't do that, then you are running out of money, you didn't learn anything, you didn't bring it to the next level in terms of closer to a market fit or closer to creating value to a larger pool of clients, and you are just mitigating with new capital. You can do it as a founder, but you can even start differently and speak. And I'm seeing a lot of success stories that work without venture capital, because if you don't have money, you need to find more creative ways and streamline a lot of things, and think of how to deliver this without resources, rather than hiring 10, X, Apple, Google, whatever, because I have the money. So to your question, I think there are a lot of creative ways to make it work up until you get to a, let's say, specific size scale of your business without venture capital. You actually can also live completely without venture capital. It really depends on the type of founder and on type of business you are building. If I want to build a sustainable long-term business that let's say I'm creating a team of 20, 15, 10, whatever the number is, we are profitable, paying all the salaries, getting some returns back, and this can be your lifetime business. And that's completely fine. Let's not always put these VC stars, VC funded exit IPOs, M&As in front of us. Let's also think of creating sustainable businesses that don't need to be the next Facebook, the next Google. I know a lot of founders and owners of businesses that are not sexy enough for the news, for the press, for all these events that you are seeing. They are earning a lot of money and don't have the pressure, don't have the expected hockey sticks every 3 weeks or 3 months. I will have a new hockey stick, a new whatever, and they are completely sane and and calm, and of course relax, and can think of other ways to achieve the next step in their journey. So yes, there are a lot of ways, and I should put it out there. I have huge respect, and we should always put also more founders that made it without VC or other type of capital. And it's not a big sexy business for VCs, but it's a sustainable business that breaks even, pays for the salaries and the rent.
Totally agree on that. I would love to switch gears a bit. You're roughly a team of like 10 to 15. They have like 100 plus customers. How do you go about customer acquisition in that industry?
We tried so many things out. So when we started, we were a volume business. We said, okay, we are a platform, on the production platform for the masses, for the individual creators of the world. There are so many. But guess what? They don't have the audiences usually, or the monetization strategy to grow and to make money from their content. There is this triangle where only the tip of the iceberg wins, and everything and everyone straddles. But we also had this in mind, of course, has having more volume in terms of usage videos and processing data. So we learn and we train our systems and AI, and then move towards the businesses because they have the audiences, they have the strategy, they have the monetization options for their content and serve them. So we moved completely towards a gross margin business and not a volume business. End of summer or fall last year. And how we get to these SMBs, which are our usual clients in terms of profiles, of course, serving only 3 markets, only English-speaking markets, most mature ones, US, UK, and Australia. We actually started Australia because it was a very interesting market to test. Dad and I, so my co-founder and I are, let's say, out of 5 days, 3 days, all afternoons are blocked for sales meetings, introductory meetings, the presentations, follow-up, and all of course, the sales funnel, which is fun. I never saw myself as a sales rep. We also have an extended partners network with companies that complement our offering, and they are also referring us. And of course, it's a commission-based agreement two-way. And third one, we have sales reps, mostly from the US. I think 90% of them are the US, which, of course, they are having the right connections, reaching out to the right type of companies, and are getting, of course, the commission from these activities. So we don't have a full sales force as we speak. But to be honest, I think we are exactly in that time of our life where this is the best funnel. And we now are exactly in that sweet spot where we also streamline the whole business development and sales process. So how we reach out, what our benefits, for the client, how we should approach them, how we should follow up with our proposal, pricing wise, and all that stuff. So that was a learning that took us 2 years in terms of process. Imagine spending 1 million, everything what we raised, in hiring 20 sales reps after 6 months of having a basic product. Everyone will say, hey, these guys are working amazingly. They will grow exponentially. And guess what? After 6 months, you spend all the money. Probably you don't know who's your right client, who's your stakeholder in these companies, what teams are purchase drivers, decision makers, endorsers, and all this stuff. And this is how companies usually do. Basic companies.
Good point. Quick question, because you said that you and your co-founder are doing sales, and then the sales reps in the US, are those employees you have in the US, or are they like basically freelance? So tell me more about that. That's super interesting. How did you find like freelance sales reps, and like how do you structure the deal with them?
Totally. This is a very common practice in the US, and I would not say they are human freelancers. They are with the right network and expertise from this industry that, of course, are both advisors and can help us grow our product and offering. And also they are very well connected. These are the 2 or 3 ingredients that we are looking for partner up with. We are reaching out to these people, saying what we do, how we work. We want to learn and partner up with you. And of course, proposal commercial agreement with them. So they are not at all our employees because we wouldn't have the money to afford this type of people. I'm speaking about director of content, head of content in digital companies, former founders, or head of sales from other major tech companies, which now are more, let's say, free in terms of picking their projects and their investment. So it was again a learning for us to find the right profiles and to reach out to the right people that also believe in our product, which is also very important and rewarding for us because they are putting some energy in, we are putting some energy in, and we make this work for both parties in terms of course, if it's working and if we are selling, then we both win. And of course, also the customer.
Okay, so in a way, it's like partner. It's a partner channel in a way.
Yes,
like not affiliate would be like not closely related, but more like partnerships.
Exactly. So it's partnership with individual experts and gurus, if you want, from this industry, and partners with companies and complementary companies to our offer. So these are the new channels that we identify that are working for us in getting to the right companies. And of course, selling to B2B is completely another process and completely other things that you need to know, which we learned the hard way in the last, 10 months, 8 months since we are doing it every day.
Can you give us a war story from the sales room? Like what was like the hardest part about figuring out the whole sales thing?
Yes, it's always figuring out what to say to a person that is getting bombarded with hundreds of emails and messages every day. That was step one, to create 5 sentences, 6 sentences, short ones, outreach. And we have an amazing return of our cold outreach, let's say, processes. 60%, 70% of the people that we are connecting to and reaching out to from these companies are getting ready and set up at least an introductory call.
Quick question. Do you do that on LinkedIn or via email, or like very tactically, how do you do that?
Multiple channels. Of course, being in this industry for 9-10 years now, you still have your personal network, which you are expanding. We are also part of 2 amazing business organizations from this industry, one in Germany, in Europe, actually in München, the FinTech Club, which is bringing all the digital health and fitness companies under this umbrella organization as the, let's say, mutual network of exchanging and learning from companies, exchanging lessons learned and best practices, which is super useful for us. And in the US, we have a similar organization, the Fitness Technology Council, which is similar, bringing US companies under this on the organizational umbrella. So yes, this is handpicked, let's say, company, and then the stakeholders from that company, what's the best channel to get to them and to reach out to them. It's time consuming. It's very, let's say, you need to know to feel the company to see if you can create value and if they are a good fit for what we do. And of course, sometimes it can lead to, wasting time, but I don't want to waste my time and their time if it's not. So we are not buying emails from there are so many practices out there. You buy 20,000 emails and send a book email out. No, we are doing very personalized handpicked profiling and then reaching out to you.
Got it. And because we were coming close to the time, just as a last question before we wrap up, what's the big vision for Hyperhuman for you?
I think I mentioned this at early stages where we were just preparing the VC part and the scaling up part and all the fun buzzwords. We want to enable the industry to make the health and fitness video content universally accessible, profitable, and reusable. And of course, our, let's say, high-level goal is to become the go-to platform for producing smart on-demand content that delivers the best outcomes for your audience in terms of health goals, fitness goals, of course, all the 360 health-related attributes, and of course, has a sustainable impact to your business. This is what we do and what we want to be. I don't want to see companies struggling and reinventing the wheel on content production side, and always look at the big ones, the Nikes of the Apple. They have the knowledge, the infrastructure, the processes. All the best practices in the world are now combined in the technology and in the infrastructure and the AI-powered tools that we are providing to these companies. So it's like getting your private video production crew and studio and the Nike level or Apple Fitness experience at the click away.
I think that's an amazing vision and a great point to wrap it. Bogdan, it was a pleasure to have you on.
Many, many thanks, Nikolas. It's always fun to speak about the things that you are passionate. So really, really enjoyed our conversation.
If you like this episode, then you'll love the SaaS Operator, a weekly newsletter brought to you by EarlyNode, with actionable insights from SaaS experts in the industry, delivered right to your inbox every Tuesday for free. Visit earlynode.com to subscribe.